Hey guys, as you can see, I'm still in the studio. I just finished on Fox News, and we're talking about New York, right? There's a few other topics that came up. I'm hoping you'll take a look and let me know what you think, but really, it's all about New York right now, and it's all about New York for me because that's where I'm from, right? That's where I was born and raised, and I just can't believe the results of this primary election that we had yesterday. I cannot believe that we're at a point where we know that the person who is more than likely going to win this race is someone who stands for so many issues that don't align with your average everyday American and with so many things that we all love and know about our country. So I'm a little surprised that we're here. I'm a little mortified that this might be the future of one of the greatest cities in the world. And I'm hopeful for a resolution. I'm hopeful that someone else will come to the table. I'm hopeful that people will come to their senses. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the next couple of months. But the fact is, that's what's on my mind right now. I think it's not just sad for me because I'm from New York, but it's also symbolic for what's going on with the Democrat Party and with so many Americans who seem to want to vote for these radical ideas, for people that are proud to be democratic socialists, whatever that even means. And it's just hard for me, especially as a daughter of two immigrants, right? I was warned about socialism, about communism, about what those terms actually mean, about what life under socialism actually looks like. And it's crazy for me to see people voting for that. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. Take a look at the clip. Let me know what you think.
Thank you. Let's bring in former National Security Council staffer under President Clinton, Jamie Metzl, former GOP National Spokesperson Elizabeth Pipko, and Fox News contributor Kaylee McGee-White. Thank you all for coming on. Elizabeth Pipko, to you first. Dean Phillips had this post. This is on Mamdani, right? The could-be mayor of New York City. He writes, Democrats wishing to lose the 26 midterm should promote a 33-year-old socialist devoid of executive experience for mayor of America's largest city and impeach a president who ended a tyrannical regime's nuclear threat while achieving a ceasefire days later. You can kind of see the remedy for the Democrats coming into focus, Elizabeth.
We can. Look, he basically took the words right out of my mouth. Honestly, I completely agree with him. I'm just sad we have to lose New York City in the process. But the fact is, he's right. This is a prime example of what is wrong with the Democrat Party, the fact that they don't know how to win anymore. But most importantly, the fact that they don't know how to love this country anymore. Yes, certain policies, unfortunately, will win with the radicals in New York City, but they will lose over with the majority of America, and they will lose over with the future of this country because you're putting America last. That is literally everything that Mamdani stands for, putting this country last. I am so sad as a born and raised New Yorker to see this happening. I'm praying that we come to some kind of resolution before the election in November. But the fact is, this is what the Democrat Party stands for right now. Anti-Semitism, radicalism, socialism, and hatred for our great country.
Yeah, and Hakeem Jeffries was asked about Mamdani, Kaylee McGee-White, being a model for the Democratic Party, and he said the following.
Does he have an ideology that you would want your candidates in 2026 to have?
Well, from the standpoint of House Democrats and what our focus has been, clearly we have an affordability crisis in the United States of America, and our focus will continue to be on driving down the high cost of living.
I mean, despite how Bill de Blasio tries to sweeten this up, he is a no defund the police socialist, Kaylee.
And now Democrats have to own him. And it's remarkable. You know, Bill de Blasio mentioned that Mamdani won because he ran on affordability or kitchen table issues. That's a talking point I've seen from multiple Democrats today. And it's just not true, because if that were the case, then why did so many working class voters reject Mamdani? Mamdani actually won because he won over the well-to-do, highly educated, white elites in New York City. Meanwhile, blacks, Hispanics, working class voters turned out for Andrew Cuomo, of all people. He did not win on affordability. He did not win on kitchen table issues. He ran on niche socialist issues that are held by people who can afford to hold luxury beliefs. That is why he won.
Yeah. Meantime, here's you on CNN, Jamie, with Joy Reid. Watch.
Why on earth is the United States bombing a country that did not attack us?
Iran has declared war on the United States. Death to America was their mantra. The United States has been a nuclear power, obviously, since 1945.
And dropped bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We're the one country that did it. Let me ask you a question.
Were they surprised, Jamie, that you stood where you stood? I mean, you said, listen, credit should be given where credit is due.
Obviously, I mean, I'm a Democrat. As you mentioned in the intro, I served for President Clinton. I actually worked for Joe Biden in the Senate. But this has been an incredible week for President Trump and for our country. He struck Iran's nuclear sites and then immediately forced a ceasefire that was not inevitable in any way. Now we went to NATO, as you mentioned, and the European countries massively increased their spending for our common defense. So we as Democrats, as Republicans, as Americans, we need to just call balls and strikes as we see them. This blind tribalism is going to ruin our country, and we should criticize. I don't know if you have played for your viewers the tape from last Saturday night, Bernie Sanders in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when the news came about the American strikes. You would have thought that this was 9/11 by the morning of these people who were clearly rooting against America. I think we should be against people who are attacking our government, people who are undermining our government, just as like we should look at the January 6th insurrectionists and say, hey, that's not what we want for our democracy. If we don't come together, our country is going to be at even greater risk.
Yeah, I want to try to get around the horn very quickly here. The Israeli intel, now the CIA, the Director of National Intelligence, all knocking down this report we had yesterday that, the strike didn't really damage the sites. Tulsi Gabbard writes in quote, partly, the propaganda media has deployed their usual tactics, selectively release portions of illegally leaked classified intelligence assessments to undermine President Trump's decisive leadership. I mean, that's the whole thing, Elizabeth Pipko, is the media got it wrong, and they got it wrong again.
They did, but they didn't just get it wrong accidentally. They got it wrong on purpose because they so badly want to score some kind of a win against Donald Trump. The sad thing is they're not hurting Donald Trump. They're hurting this country because they're rooting against America. They're rooting against this administration, and they're rooting against our armed men and women who serve our country and did an incredible job with this mission, and that's a disgrace.
Yeah, and Kaylee McGee-White, to you, the White House says it wants to limit intelligence it gives to Congress because it believes the leak came out of Congress, given to CNN.
It could very well have, but the byline on that piece, Natasha Bertrand, tells you all you need to know. This is the same journalist who authored the report about the 51 intelligence officials who cast doubt on the legitimacy of the Hunter Biden laptop report. And so that fact alone should call into question the legitimacy of her report. And I think the White House is right to point that out.
Yeah, but you're calling balls and strikes, Jamie, very quickly. Trump went to NATO. He got these people to kind of pony up some dough, and he's getting a lot of praise for it. Should he be getting the praise?
Absolutely. President Trump put a lot of pressure on our European allies, and our European allies need to step up. Europe is at risk. Russia poses a fundamental threat to Europe. The United States has responsibilities in Europe, in Asia, in the Middle East. We can't do it alone to the extent that we've done in the past. No. Our European partners and allies are essential to our own security, but they've got to step up. And now that they have, and President Trump deserves enormous credit for putting pressure on them to do so.
Back with the Nightcap crew, Kevin Corrick, Bethany Mandel, Elizabeth Pipko, Dee Sarton, Shirin Yadigar, and Mark Wetherington. Tonight's topic, fake news. CNN quick to downplay the success of U.S. strikes in Iran. Are you surprised the media ran with a low-confidence prelim report? General Wetherington.
Not surprised, Trace. The report is typical, and it's going to change, but the battle for the narrative is going to be strong.
Yeah, Kevin.
To quote Casablanca, I am shocked, I say, to discover this gambling in this establishment. Not surprised at all. They're looking for clicks.
Dee Sarton.
Oh, no, not surprised. Too juicy. They can't resist an opportunity to try to tarnish a Donald Trump win, so not surprised.
Elizabeth Pipko.
Yeah, it's already been said here. Look, I'm not surprised at all. I just wish these people would realize they're only hurting their own credibility at this point. They're not hurting this administration.
Very true. Bethany.
Yeah, over the course of the last 15, 20 years, they've told us over and over and over who they are, and I believe them at this point. So, no, I'm not at all surprised.
Shirin.
As a journalist, I'm actually very hurt that they would run with something like this when we know it's a no-no. Anyone who goes to journalism school knows it's a no-no.
GMA 2020, nope. At least they are consistent. Arnie Vios, they will use anything that will make Trump look bad, pathetic, and lame. Elon made me join. Of course not. It's exactly what the resistance media does: lie, obfuscate, and cherry pick for their agenda. Thank you for watching America's Late News, Fox News at Night. I'm Trace Gallagher in Los Angeles.